Hiya! So we're here today at the allotments, and I thought it'd be a nice chance just to show everyone around the allotments, talk a little bit about my brand new allotment that I've got here, what the plans for it are, and then we've got some of the other allotment holders who we'll go over to and they'll introduce themselves, who are there in the background if you want to give us a wave. We'll go over there and have a look at what they're doing, hear a bit about their experience as well. So I thought I'd just start off by showing you the allotments here. So this is a quarter plot which I took on in November this year. So it goes up to just about where that stick is over there. At the moment there's nothing in it, and as you can see it is a very, very cold day. Absolutely solid to the ground at the moment. But yeah, so I kind of started off with this, put a few plants in so far, but thought I'd tell you a bit about the plans for it. So with the new allotment, it started off, it was in quite a good position really, but just had some weeds that needed digging over. So I started off by doing that. Wasn't sure what to do next, so I thought I'd build these little cane things with some willow that I had access to. Managed to get some old pallets from the local farm shop and build a compost bin over here, which Leslie's fantastically just informed me that I should have 2 compost bins. But this is the idea with the compost bin here, if we can zoom out a bit. You can put your compost in the top. I can lift this up in there. As you can see, there's nothing in it yet. And then once it's rotted all down, I'll be able to get it out the bottom there with those hinges. So it's good to have a compost bin on the allotment so you can put all of your green waste in it. I've just laid out a few things here as well that I thought would be good just to show you. So this is a book I got for Christmas, which again Leslie's just said don't believe too much of what's in there because you'll learn as you go, but it's always good to plan. So I've just done out a little bit of a plan for this allotment here. So you'll see I've done it the wrong way around, but I've got my crates at the bottom here, and then my alliums here, my onions, legumes here, which will be in this plot here, carrots, parsnips, celery, and then we've also got some currants, chard and strawberries, which aren't part of, they're not part of one of the families in the rotation, and then brassicas down at the bottom there. So we'll go over and just have a look at what's in so far in a second, but just before I do that, you'll see that I've labelled each of these. So you've got potatoes, onions, legumes, roots, brassicas, and they will be forming part of a 5-year crop rotation. And the reason for doing this is that the nutrients kind of rotate, so you're not encouraging disease by putting the same crops in the same soil year after year. So we've got the 5 different groups here, and potatoes will move into where the, oh no, I ripped it. Potatoes will move into where the roots are, roots will move into where the brassicas are, brassicas will move into where the legumes were, and the legumes will move into where the onions were, and so on and so forth. So I thought I'd just share that with you. The other thing that I've found invaluable in my 4 months here so far are these knee pads. If you can get yourself a pair of these, get them. And also some decent gloves. Those are just a couple of quid from Aldi, but they're absolutely worth it. So we'll just go over and have a quick look at what I've got in so far. So nothing in these beds yet, they've just been dug over. I have got a few little garlics in there that seem to be starting growing up. They were started off in my garden, and I just brought them down here to get them in the soil so that the roots didn't frost. So really I need to take them out of these plastic things and put them in properly. These are some marigolds which hopefully will have set seed and will come back next year. Got some strawberries in here which have just been put in November, and again hopefully will start growing fully next year, or this year rather. I don't know if you can just see there the green bits, just a tiny little bit of Welsh onions. They're really good for the bees. The flower heads are fantastic for bees, particularly red-tailed bumblebees love those, and they also taste great, so hopefully that will come through. I've got a mint here as well. Now mint spreads like wildfire, so I've just left it in its pot and stuck it in the ground in that, so hopefully it won't spread quite so badly. And then I've got some currant bushes in as well, so we've got white currant, goji berry, black currants, a couple of black currants, and then some more strawberries in between. And this bed, this is the edge of the allotment here. The previous owner had this bed which he had beans in, so I haven't got to that bed yet, but I will do. So that's just to give you an idea of, you know, a brand new allotment. Had it since November now, so that's what, 3-4 months, and yeah, not much in it, good to plan. So we'll have a look over here now, have a wander over and say hello. So, hi Leslie.
Hi.
So Leslie has been on the allotments here for, how long have you been here?
Well over 30 years.
Fantastic. So Leslie's kindly come down to have a chat with us today and tell us just a bit about what you're doing here and any tips that you might have to share with people who are starting off growing, or perhaps have been growing for a while. One of the tips Leslie just gave me earlier was, as you're walking along, what did you say? Have a look
and see what everyone else is doing, because you'll always get new ideas. I've got 3 varieties of strawberries. One's a perpetual one that will fruit from early June through to October. It doesn't have as much all the time, but keeps going. I grow a big mixture of things, because then if I get busy and forget to do jobs, something always works.
That's a good idea.
There's a pinkberry there, that's new to me.
Pinkberry?
Pinkberry, as opposed to white, black, red. It's a pink one, it's a bit sweeter.
Oh.
But I discovered the only problem with it is the birds have it before you think they're ripe.
What, do you do anything to try and protect it from the birds? Nets.
If you come down here in summer, you'll see everyone's covered everything with nets.
Really?
Because the birds think it's dinner time. A couple of justerberries. We can actually grow blueberries in the soil down here because it's very acidic. Normally you can't.
Have you had to do anything to the soil to make it more acidic?
No, it is naturally acidic. The thing is, you've just got to be careful you don't put muck on it.
Right, okay.
And we mulch with the mulch that's sent to the plot, because that is almost always going to be conifer.
Yeah, and conifer, when that breaks down, does that make it more acidic? It makes
it more acidic. So you don't want that on the rest of your plot, but you can use it on the paths to save weeding. You can put it around established plants.
Right, okay.
You've just got to be careful.
Leslie just mentioned the heap, which actually you can't quite see. It's just over there behind those wooden frames. But one of the local, is it a gardener or a landscaping contractor, tree surgeon or something, just comes and drops it down every now and then, isn't it? Well, just whenever he's got a tree.
When he wants to get rid of some, when we say we've got space for it, because everybody likes it for mulching the paths, because it keeps the weeds down.
Fab.
You've got some on yours, haven't you?
I put some on mine, but I didn't realise that's why people did it. I just thought it looked nice, so that's why I put it down.
It's done. Then you keep topping it up.
Oh, brill. So you said these are perpetual strawberries?
Over there.
Oh, okay.
That's a new variety. So,
what's the difference between perpetual and non-perpetual strawberries?
Those will fruit for about 3 weeks in June.
Right, okay.
A fairly heavy crop, but then that's it. You might get 2 or 3 odd ones later.
Right.
Whereas the ones over there, as I said, will keep cropping for through to October if I can protect them from cold weather.
For as long as you want strawberries.
That's it.
Not as much
Not
at
as
any
many
one
at a
time.
time.
Right.
Off that
That's-
patch there, by the time you get through to October, you only get enough for breakfast, like 3 times a week. I'm John.
This is John's allotment too, I guess.
Yeah.
It's my
Shared.
allotment, he's allowed to help. It's my husband, it was my toy to start with.
Brilliant. So you've got cardboard and bricks and things on here. Why do you do that during the
bricks
winter?
are to keep the cardboard on, otherwise it blows off.
Okay.
The cardboard will be removed, possibly composted, possibly dug in. It just keeps the weeds down over winter.
Ah.
We weeded it, put muck on it, wrapped it up for winter.
So that just saves you a job with having to weed in the
Yes.
spring. Very sensible.
It's just cheaper than a proper tarpaulin.
Yeah, and if you can put it on a compost heap as well, it
Yeah.
saves on.
It's the end of the spring onions, which this winter, having been cold, haven't really survived. Normally I'd still be able to use them, but
And you,
these beds are put down. I think this end will be potatoes next year, that end brassicas, I think,
fab.
and again brassicas on.
And do you rotate
I
the
try
beds?
and rotate as much as I can. The problem is everybody likes some vegetables more than others. Once you get a pest in with brassicas, you really should leave it 10 years or more, and there's no way I can leave it 10
Oh,
years
goodness.
or more. So
Yeah. And what's the benefit of rotating? Just to reduce any likelihood of pests and diseases?
it does
Is that
reduce it, but also different plants take different things out of the soil, or different groups of plants. So if you grow one thing, get something else will take something different out of it next year.
and add something different as
Yeah.
well, will it?
Yeah. I mean, we put muck on at least some of it every year, and every few years we put a lot more on. The fruits, my few odd rose plants,
Are these roses?
those are roses.
So I think that's one of the things that I thought was really nice when I first started an allotment, realising that you don't just have to grow vegetables, you can actually grow flowers and you can grow other things too.
When I started, some of the fellas thought it was a bit peculiar because all that long ago there were only 2 women on the site.
Wow.
So we tended to put our heads together,
And get your roses in. I like it.
whatever flowers it was. But things have changed a bit. More women, there's lots of women, but also the fellas grow flowers as well now. It's regarded as normal. I've got dahlias, delphiniums.
Lovely.
I can't grow delphiniums at home because of slugs. I won't use slug pellets at home.
They get eaten overnight, don't they? Delphiniums. Yeah.
Whereas down here, I have to use slug pellets because other people do. So any
Right.
natural prevention doesn't work as well.
Okay. What would be the difference with using slug pellets or not?
Well, I've got a pond at home with frogs, so I hope the frogs will eat most of the slugs.
Yeah.
Not enough to
Yeah.
grow delphiniums.
Understandable.
Every year I will bring the strawberry plants over another 2 or 3 rows and take out the last rows because the fresh plants always grow best.
Right. Do they naturally sort of, I know strawberries throw out runners, don't they? Do they naturally sort of creep over into the next bed, or do you have to help them a bit?
No, I pot them up, move them over and make
Yeah.
rows of it, and that's when we pass. You'll always get more runners than you need, and you just pass them on to anyone else who's starting. So,
Sharing the strawberry love.
yes,
I like it. And what are these for?
these are the runner beans.
So the beans grow up in the middle, do they? And
We'll have canes up.
ah,
The idea was, this is your bit, we'll go onto the notches on that.
Ah.
We picked that idea up.
so you can So the runner beans or the canes will just go into these notches, will they?
Didn't work quite as well as we'd hoped, but we picked the idea up because instead, normally you see runner beans grow in a shape like that.
Yeah.
But then we picked up the idea, if you grow them in a shape like that, these hang down and breathe, you'll see everything.
Good thinking.
Having these pots, we can use the canes for longer. I think some of the canes we've got are over 10 years old.
Wow.
They're sort of shorter and that sort of thing. Well, with this COVID thing, canes are going to be short next summer, I reckon.
You wouldn't have thought of that as a side effect, would you?
Yeah, just
Shortage of
lots
bamboo
places
canes. Yeah.
I mean, the allotment huts would normally sell them
Yeah.
at a reasonable price. They're probably not going to be able to sell them.
But you see, beans you don't have to move around every year. You can keep those in the same place.
Right, okay. Why is that?
I don't know, they don't seem to get the pests in the same way.
Well,
Yes,
that
it would be
makes it a bit
useful,
easier, doesn't it?
because they put stuff back in the soil, but because you want a more permanent structure,
Right.
and just leave them in the same place. If you look around the site, the beans tend to be
In the
in a
same
solid
spot.
structure.
Yeah.
Because beans fix nitrogen in the soil with
Yeah.
their roots, don't they?
Yeah. Well, all that family, peas and everything. Peas we move around.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, having been on the site a bit longer, our soil is a bit higher. If you look behind you,
Let's get down, get the angle.
oh
yeah.
the height of soil over the years, because of the
Yeah, it's quite different, isn't it?
I put these beds in 11 years ago when I retired.
cold frame that the lettuce will go in. I'll probably put it in any time now as seeds at home on the windowsill in a propagator.
Uh-huh.
Go out to the greenhouse and then down here.
So I think
Those are
the
last year's.
trainees on the course will have talked a bit about cold frames earlier on. So that's fantastic to see an example of one in action.
Very useful.
That was a 3-section window frame, plus back and front is somebody's bathroom.
Really?
So it's toughened glass,
Wow.
which is useful.
This is ready for planting next year, but that is the autumn raspberries. They have a lot less pests than the summer ones.
Right.
So if you're growing where other people are growing raspberries, definitely go for the autumn ones if you don't want to spray.
What's this plant down here?
Sweet William,
Oh.
room for flowers.
Lovely.
That patch there will go for about 3 years and provide armfuls of flowers that are passed round to everyone else on here.
Oh, fantastic.
That's just a few bulbs on the odd corner. That's where you have indoor bulbs. I just plant them outside afterwards, and they come up all over the place.
See if they stay alive.
Yeah, apple tree. This will have the plastic over it. Come about March for tomatoes and chilies. You can see other people leave theirs on,
Oh yeah, you can
but
see
they
over
don't
there.
last as long that way.
So you take them off for the winter.
We take ours off.
Lovely.
That's a new cooking apple that we only put in last year, so we didn't let it fruit. Hopefully it'll fruit for me this year. Apples are normally pretty good.
Right,
Plums
okay.
are the ones that,
Ah, okay.
and plums are more difficult to keep small. I had a plum tree, but I had it out in the end. I've
Really?
still got we took out the other one, didn't we? But
Do you like plums?
yes.
Oh, that's
and
good
they're
then.
much nicer than if you buy them. They're one of the things that's worth trying if you can. These are the compost bins. We used to have 3, but we decided we didn't actually need it. It rotted down nicely. So you fill one up one year, tip it into the other one, then empty it on the soil. And
Brilliant.
it starts again.
And you leave them for a whole year for the
Yeah.
compost to rot down. And I think that, again, the trainees will have talked a bit about composting and the mix of brown and greens, but
Yeah.
what do you have any sort of tips for the best way to mix your stuff in a compost bin?
It's how much time you've got. If you can chop it up small, it disintegrates quicker. But because I've got space here to have 2 bins, I don't have to chop it up as small.
So
and
it's
it will
time.
work in time.
So which is the one you're hoping to use this year?
This is the one.
This
that
one.
we used this year. That's just had lots of
No,
stuff on it.
because we've got space, because that's how it shrinks down.
So this was right up to the top
This-
when you filled it up,
It was up here somewhere.
and it's just
in the dip
sunk
down.
right down.
Right, it's gone down 9 inches or more further than this.
Wow.
This is, it's got a hose in there, all sorts of things. It just looks like soil when you're done, and it doesn't smell.
Brilliant. And there's a compost loo on this site as well, isn't there?
Yes.
Over there.
Over there.
Just about see it. It's been locked this year, hasn't it?
Yes, there's a code.
But
It took a long time to get it.
oh, it's fantastic to have.
Oh, absolutely.
But actually,
Thanks to the lottery.
it's a
Really, lottery funded, fantastic.
lottery funded, and it's going to cost very little for us to maintain it.
Yeah.
There's a pear tree there. Got pounds of pears this year. It did really well.
Are these roses?
That's the
Again?
rose at the front and the apple tree fighting it at the back. I
Oh, yeah,
decided I was
lovely.
going to try and prune it to go sideways, but I really needed more space. I was going to put a step over in this year, but I can't go and buy one, so I have to wait a year. Again, the beds are covered up, ready, waiting, and delphiniums.
What's going in this bit here?
This bit is probably going to be potatoes, I think. Just
Fab.
a few different ones at the end. Oh, something's been digging a hole.
Oh, what would you say that would be?
Badgers.
Badgers.
That's a guess. We can't grow sweet corn down here.
Really? What do the badgers have it all?
The badgers get it about 3 days before it's ready.
Oh no.
Every now
But
and-
that's heartbreaking.
It is. Every now and again, somebody will try again. People were starting to try again last year, and they got away with it. So I might try this year. But we thought it was vandals.
Really?
They
Sweet corn
spread
robbers.
it over about 3 different plots.
Wow.
You fence it, you do everything, but they're big, strong, they get through.
If you had one top tip for people growing their own food, what would it be?
Grow what you like to eat. It sounds silly, but it's true. And only grow the amount of it that you're going to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I eat a lot of fruit, the whole family does, so I've got lots of fruit on my plot. I've got a 5-year-old grandson who will eat strawberries forever, so that's why I've got 3 varieties.